Yes, yes, y'all. You're listening to the dailybreadproject.com, coming to you live on Facebook daily. Check us out at thedailybreadproject.com. We are here to bring you the light, to bring you the love, the leadership, to nourish you and give you some positivity in these crazy times. I am your host, Jonathan Rivera, JR, aka Daddy's Working. Stoked that you guys are here and should have a guest joining me in just a little bit. We're going to bring this thing live to Facebook and bring you your daily nourishment. There he is. He's right on time. I'm going to bring him in while I bring this live to Facebook. I'm going to promote you to panelists. Let's see. There we are. That should be working. Then I'm going to get this thing going live to Facebook like we always do around this time. And then we'll rock with it. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Kyle, what's up, brother?
Doing well, man. How you doing, Jonathan?
Oh man, amazing. Amazing. I'm talking to you. It's been a while and I'm glad that we have a chance to connect here, man. Thank you.
Welcome. Welcome. Thanks for having me on.
All right, let's see. I'll get this thing live to the Facebook page, then I'll share it to my personal page. If everything works, we will be live streaming, and then we can rock with it, man.
All right.
Let's see. I'm going to get over here, and I'm going to do a big intro for you. Or yeah, there we go. We're live. All right. So this is the dailybreadproject.com. This is your daily dose of positivity. We're bringing you love, light, leadership, everything that's good in the world. Out there, it's scary. It's chaotic. The news is breaking you down. In here, we're building you up and bringing you love. This is the dailybreadproject.com. I cannot do this by myself, so I enlist the help of my friends. Today, I have Mr. Kyle Newell here with me. What is up, my man?
Doing great, man. I'm doing great, Jonathan. I'm psyched to be here, and I'm all about positivity. So
Of
I'm psyched.
course. That's why I invited you. Dude, you look like you slimmed down a bit. Have you been cutting or what are you doing, bro? You look good.
I have been a little bit, not necessarily intentionally, but I started doing longer form fasting about a year ago, and kept about 25 pounds off since I started that. So I feel good.
Damn, brother. Yeah, you looking good. All right, cool, cool, cool. So here's the rundown, and I'm trying something a little bit different this week. If you've been watching, I've changed it up just a little bit. We talk about power, positivity, leadership, and love here. And so what I want to do is start out with you giving us a little idea of what you would say your superpower is.
My superpower is having a very persistent, optimistic mindset and being able to teach our clients and people about how the brain works. And that helps people connect the dots and realize how they can control their inner dialogue.
Love it, man. So tell me more about this inner dialogue thing. I don't think that most people realize how big that is. And so just give me a little more detail on how it works and how it sabotages most people without them realizing.
Sure. Something I study and teach a lot is called mind mapping. Talked to me by this guy, Dax Moy. And one of the things that Dax teaches us is there's 6 different types of environments. The first one is the mind, the inner dialogue. The brain always has an inner dialogue going, and usually it's negative. The brain is hardwired for the negative. It's a survival mechanism. Now, that inner dialogue is going to drive your actions and your behaviors and your beliefs and your feelings. So we can change that just by asking our brain certain questions, by reframing, saying, what's great about this problem? And just being self-aware of say, hey, I keep thinking this and this is not serving me. So it really starts, the inner dialogue is about self-awareness. So that's really the gist of that.
Dude, wait a second now. I'm gonna play devil's advocate because of course you know I agree with you, but I have to play devil's advocate here.
Yeah.
Oh snap, I'm out of work. Oh snap, the world is changing. Everybody's got all kinds of terror going on and money's not coming in. How do I reframe that as good?
Your brain will, if you ask it what's great about this, will find an answer. There's something called the open loop theory, right? And the brain doesn't like that gap in that loop. It's going to come up with an answer to whatever you ask of it. So in this situation, right, with Corona quarantine, what's great about this? Well, for me, for example, use myself as an example. If the gyms fail, if they go under, I'll restart them from the ground with changes that I wish I had made earlier. I'll restart them with a new base. I'll restart them with a new gratitude. What's great about it for me on a family front? I have more family time. I'm at home at night now. I'm getting more rest. I'm focusing more on my things like meditation, and I'm getting to teach more about mindset right now. So these are all great things that are there and present becoming this rather than the doom and gloom.
This guy, I love it. I love it. So turning obstacles into opportunities is what I hear you saying. And this leads perfectly into my next question. And it's about positivity. What are you doing? So you've been, I know you, so I know that this has been a lifelong pursuit for you. So what are some of the things that are really working to help you stay positive? So this mind mapping, turning obstacles into opportunities. What else?
Getting out there every morning, I do some kind of physical activity myself, whether that's just walking with my weight vest or hitting the weights, and listening to something positive when I'm doing that.
Like what? Give us some positive things you're listening to.
And listening to some of Brian Rose's podcasts, London Real. So listening to that while I'm walking the hill. Sometimes it's listening to empowering music, music that makes me feel good. I journal every day, and it's just a little bit. It's not a huge thing all the time. In the morning, I write down my three things I'm grateful for. At night, I write down 3 wins for the day. So just constantly trying to refocus my direction and my attention, I should say, on the positivity in my life, and really just getting to. I feel like this moment, this is something that I was made for. Just kind of being the beacon of light. I really feel that way.
Holy crap, dude. You just took the words out of my mouth. I've been saying that, like, as we've been going through this, I've been thinking, like, this is what everything I've ever done is for. Like, I'm like, this is my time. And so it's so crazy to hear you, like, those are the exact words I'm saying. Like, that is unbelievable. That's why you're here. That's exactly why you're here. Were you always like that? Were you always positive like that?
Yeah, yeah. I've always, for at least the past 20 years. I remember when I was in high school playing basketball, I got really into mindset and psychology, but I've always had this just overly optimistic outlook on life. And maybe it's naive, but I don't care because it serves me well. And I'd rather be that way than not. And, some people it could be overbearing, but it's really what I believe is that life is supposed to be fun, and it's supposed to be something that we're supposed to grow and be happy with.
Growth, man. So talk to me about growth. Physically, you've always taken care of your body. You're a gym owner, you've been a trainer, you're growing mentally. What are some of the best practices that you use that keep you growing daily?
Constant curiosity, right? That constant, I believe one of my philosophies, Jonathan, is emptying my cup. So constantly pouring out my cup so I can learn something new. Constantly learning. I mean, you taught me for a few years. I always have guys in my life that I look up to that can teach me and that have walked a certain path where they're not just talking, where they're actually walking the walk, right?
Why is that important though? Because I mean, we're like right now in this time, there's probably more people talking than ever. But why do they need to walk? Why does that matter?
Talk is cheap. It's that old. My dad used to tell us that. He's talk is cheap. Show me. And there's so many people that, like with this situation, right now, people have the time to work on their dreams. They're not commuting. They have all this time, but 99.9% of them are going to come out of this unchanged. They're not going to take action. Action is leads to confidence, right? Action leads to confidence. Action will overcome fear. If people won't take action, it's because they have a certain level of fear, and that's okay. I understand that, but that's not somebody I'm going to follow. I'm not going to follow somebody, sheep that's just going down that fear path. Not going to happen.
Yeah, buddy. I've done a couple of stories. I'd rather die like a lion than live like a sheep.
That's it. Yeah.
That's where I'm at, baby. Cool, man. So, all right. So let's let's talk about leadership. And You're a leader for your family. You're a leader for your team because you have business on the ground. You're a leader for your clients. And so, what, if any, what has changed in your leadership style these days?
I try to be better with my communication. I was listening to something yesterday on leadership, and sometimes it's something that we're kind of thrust into. Sometimes we're just put in that position. But with me, if I think of the gyms and Newell Strength, it was a passion and a belief I had and a certain philosophy about physical fitness and mindset. And then people started wanting to become a part of that journey. So it was kind of just a position I wasn't intentionally going after. And with that in mind, a lot of times I'll make decisions and I'll do stuff very quickly. And I haven't always been the best at explaining that to people why I'm doing something. It's just my belief because, hey, you want to come along for the ride, that's fine. But now I try to be more conscious of, okay, here's why I'm doing this. You might be scared of it, that's okay, but I'm going to do this and just keep following my lead. So really making sure everybody's on the same page, not saying, but they understand why I'm doing what I'm doing, communicating.
Have you read? I know you're a big reader too. Have you read Extreme Ownership?
I have it right up there. Yeah.
Dude, because that's what it's reminding me of. It's like we need the commander's intent. We need to tell them why we're doing this, and then we need to give them some room to get us to the goal. And I'm
Yes.
with you. I'm terrible at like, all right, I shouldn't say that because that's negative programming. I know I could be better at the communication piece, like
Yep.
telling people why, because then they can jump on board. And
Yep.
so what else? So telling people why, the communication piece, any other changes, any other things that are better now than they were before?
Um, I'd say they're better just because more repetition with the stuff. As far as just, I believe in leading by example. I believe in if I'm going to tell, hey Jonathan, try this, then it's something I have to be practicing and I have to know inside and out. And I always believe that, like with this situation, I always believe on upping our mental toughness, constantly putting ourselves in a position to be more mentally tough, but not just preaching it. Let people see you out there challenging yourself. Let people out there see that you're going to grow through adversity, and just doing those types of things. And I think that's very attractive to a lot of people because they want to do that themselves. They just need somebody to show them how to do it or lead by example. So
Or that it could be done. Well,
yes.
hell, if Kyle can do it. Why can't I? Right.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
So, talk to me a little bit about that because that is one of my favorite subjects. Storytelling and mental toughness are two of my favorite subjects. And so, what are some of the things that you've done to cultivate your mental toughness?
I always believe that with mental toughness, you have to constantly put yourself outside your comfort zone, right? And that could be through a workout. That could be writing with your opposite hand in cursive, just something little. I could think back when I was still bodybuilding pretty heavily. I would go to the local gym right down the street and I would wear spandex pants, nothing over them. And I would do that because I knew this is going to be very weird. People are going to think I'm crazy, but I knew it was stepping outside my comfort zone. The past 2 mornings, those are more conditioning days. So I put on an 80-pound vest, and this morning I'm carrying 25-pound dumbbells in each hand up and down a hill. I went 45 minutes. I had to set them down. So that's 130 extra pounds on me, where it's uncomfortable. But I know, okay, you're pushing yourself a little bit. I could just walk
A
without.
little bit.
But but then it starts becoming a norm. So that's why I had the dumbbell. And then it's like, okay, how are you constantly going to push yourself out there? I go to jujitsu now, something I started since we've last spoken. And, I'm a novice there. I feel out of place. I've been going about a year and a half now, but you're going to put yourself in position. Okay, this is what it feels like to get choked out. This is what it feels like, and constantly, how do you keep upping that so your comfort zone is over here now?
Pushing boundaries. I like it. Getting 1% better, just a little bit at a time. Damn, my weight vest only has 10 pounds in it. Now I just feel like
Yeah,
a loser.
like at least 40.
Too good, man. So what about some resources? So what would you like? What's your favorite book or resource on mental toughness? Like I said, it's one of my favorite topics. So I'd love to share some more on this.
One of my favorite books is The 50th Law, written by
Oh,
Robert.
yeah.
It's a great one. It's my favorite. A lot of people shy away from that book because 50 Cent, it's highlighting 50 Cent, but the
But
book
it's
is
Robert Greene.
Robert Greene. Yeah, it's phenomenal, and it's just about acting with fearlessness in life, and it gives you all these stories and throughout history, Napoleon, all these people, and that was a great book to me. And then Awaken the Giant Within, probably the first one that really got me kickstarted on all of this by Tony Robbins. Just awesome. I mean, that is a fantastic book. Stephen Pressfield, The War of Art is one of my favorites. Overcoming the Resistance, how he talks about that in the book. But those three, right? Those are like three of my favorites.
Have you read Relentless by Tim Grover?
I haven't. I don't think I
Oh,
have.
put it
Actually, I had
on put it on your list, bro.
make a list. I
Yeah,
gotta.
you're gonna like that. It's one of my favorites as well. Okay, so that's a good set of books there. And so let's keep moving forward here. And so when I talk about love, right? We've talked about superpower, we've talked about positivity and leadership. When I talk about love, I want to ask, what opportunities are you loving right now? What do you see that you think is going to be great and come from this time right now?
I think how passionate I am about mindset and mind mapping. This is really the opportunity where people are seeing that, and they need it now more than ever. And say, okay, there's a whole separate business which you've talked to me about in the past before, with just mindset and mind mapping. So that's a great thing. As far as living out my philosophies, like we said, we're built for moments like these. Well, now people get to see that, and it's not just talk. And certain people are going to follow you into a fire from now on because of that, and other people, it's going to turn them off. Well, that's fine. That means they went right for the business, and that's okay. So just kind of, I think the opportunity is just being even more so my authentic self, and trying to live with fearlessness and moving forward like that.
What's that mean, fearlessness?
It means,
To you, of course.
we have, of course, nobody wants to get physically harmed, but most fear that we experience as humans is just a projection into the future. It's not real. It's what might go wrong. It's that inner dialogue. So I've always believed that acting without fear, like that's one of the tattoos I have, is acting without fear. Go forward. The worst that's going to happen is you're going to fail. It's not that bad. It's not that bad if you fail. You're going to learn, and you're going to keep moving further down the field. And I always tell people, Jonathan, like, I'm not the smartest, don't have X, Y, and Z, but I've always had that element, being overly optimistic and having a very, very high tolerance for fear. Meaning, it doesn't, I don't let it register. I catch myself and say, okay, you're thinking about next week. Right now, there's no fear. What can I do right now? So that's kind of what it means to me, is being present and taking action.
So I'm going to translate this to what I understand, and it leads me to another question. You're saying acting without fear, and all that's ringing in my head is faith. And so, how does faith play in your life?
Faith is huge. It's I actually made another podcast about that this morning. Faith over fear in this situation. Faith is trusting in the unseen, the stuff that higher power that we can't see. The faith that everything's going to be okay. In this situation, should be a wake up call for people. If they're that scared, that shows you where their faith is at. If they're that fragile, then that shows you where their faith is at. And if you believe that there's a higher being and there's something bigger than us, then you got nothing to fear, right? Fear just shows you where you're lacking, and trusting in the unseen and the higher power. That's what faith is to me.
Dude, I got goosebumps. I'm not even kidding. Fear shows you where your faith is at. That is money, bro. That is money. I love, 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 love that. All right. So here's a fun one. And you've actually been talking about this the entire episode. So looking back 5 years from now, how do you want people to remember you in this time?
True to my word, fearless. Philosophy, sticking by my life's philosophy, which there's so many ways I can use that right now. I've been trying to live it out in this situation where we talked about, like, you know, allow people to talk is cheap. Well, now, okay, now it's real. What are you going to do? Do you believe in what you've actually been preaching? I want people to look back and say, man, he just kept going. He didn't follow the sheep. He didn't just take it at you know, what they're telling us. You know, there's a whole another thing, and it's I believe we're seeing a shift, you know, and I want to be a part of that, a shift in consciousness for people too. I think more people are awakening to a higher faith right now, and they're realizing, hey, there's something going on here. There's something going on, and we can't just be controlled by people hitting the fear button. I want to lead that charge.
Who's hitting the fear button? I'm curious.
Media. It's the media. I think they're playing people. I think.
Why would they do that? Come on.
My belief on this, man. Social media, and people want to be the victim. People love being the victim, and I've been saying the whole time. I mean, this is a Trojan horse. Something else going on here, and I feel very confident in saying that. And it's a control thing. You look at all totalitarian regimes. This is how they began, and people got to start paying attention. That, hey, this is going on, but meanwhile, all your freedoms and this stuff is being taken from you. Are you just going to let it happen, or are you going to start asking questions? And I'm going to ask questions.
Bro, I mean, it's not like we never had a gap. And I mean, we're like one mind, because that's what I keep telling Cupcake too. She's telling me, oh, this is going on. And I'm like, why are you letting them get in your head? Why? I mean, that's exactly what they want. And so I felt the same way, not to get into any conspiracy theory or any of that, but I'm with you that this is a dress rehearsal for control. And the best way to control people is, number one, keep them scared. Number two, people wake the F up. Number two is keep them separated, right? Social distancing. You're apart. So therefore, you cannot rise up. You cannot build each other's confidence. And that right there, that is why I started this, because I said, hey, man, they're trying to keep us apart. They're trying to mess with us. I'm like, I'm going to bring people together. I'm going to bring positivity to battle what's going on out there. And so clearly you can tell I'm a little fired up about that. So brother, as we're coming towards the tail end of the show, anything you want to talk about, anything you want to share with the folks out there watching, listening?
Yeah, I would say use this opportunity for growth, because it's a gift. It's a gift, right? So we have the human evil, right? The ones like we were just speaking of. But you also, if you have faith, you got to realize that there's another power at work here. And this is a gift. People are never going to have this type of time again with their family, this type of time to work on relationships. They're not going to have time to really reflect on what they're grateful for, in life that we take for granted. Being able to go out for a beer, being able to go to a ball game, being able to go to the gym and work out. All this stuff that people don't realize how great we actually have it here in America. Now it's gone. So you better reflect on it and keep a journal on this stuff, because you're going to want to look back on it and, use it as a growth point, as a growth opportunity.
Yeah, man. So what I like to say is, Kyle Newell, thank you for bringing the light. And light is now an acronym. Leadership in good and hard times. Because it's easy when everything's good and everybody's happy, it's easy to be a leader. But when the stuff hits the fan, like is apparently going on right now, this is where we're seeing real leadership, real light, real love. And so you brought the light today, brother. I appreciate you. Where can people find you if they want to hang out with you?
They can. I got my Facebook page is Kyle Newell, and
What about the podcast? You still doing the podcast?
Unlocking Your Inner Strength, the one that you helped. I still do that. Unlocking Your Inner Strength on iTunes and whatnot. Comes out on Tuesdays still.
Good.
So those are two spots they can find me, and I usually put a lot of content out, a lot of live videos on my Facebook page and whatnot. I'm just speaking about this type of stuff that I'm passionate about.
Yes, sir. Kyle Newell, ladies and gentlemen, KyleNewell, Kyle Newell, Unlocking Your Inner Strength. You can find him. And if you can't, just connect with me and I will point you in the right direction. Thank you, brother. I appreciate you.
It was awesome, man. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir. So you are listening to the dailybreadproject.com. We just gave you the opportunity to grow, to get better, to be happier, to do more, have more, be more, and give more, all on this episode. If you loved it, share it. If you hated it, share it. I don't care. Just share it. Thedailybreadproject.com. Thank you, guys.